It's rare for a child to become sick and to become really sick with a chronic condition. So you have to come through and think through, well, probably there's nobody else in that school where that child attends. So how do we then connect them with others?
I feel it's important to have individuals who have a lived experience of spinal cord injury to share with another person who has a spinal cord injury because of that lived experience. Because through the interview conversations that we've had with individuals, they often say, like, finally I'm talking to somebody that gets it. Somebody that understands what is living day to day with a spinal cord injury. And that person, because they've been living day to day, can share a lot of knowledge.
This is where I've been thinking through the need for how do we break silos, how do we bring children together within the educational system. We have a really important person who's part of our team, who she herself has the condition and is able to share her personal stories with all the trainees that come through. Incorporating individuals, at the table when talking about research will, especially when you're thinking about kind of a grant or a research idea, bringing them early on might bring you a new question, might bring you a new approach, think of things differently. So the value that they bring allows you to make sure that the research that's being conducted is really in alignment with their needs. And I think that's incredible.
Well-being has to be a consultative process. That is, you have to ask the person who is distressed and impaired what also constitutes their definition of well-being, not our definition. And you have to build the solutions out of the complex agenda of belief systems, culture, safety, the planet. I mean, there are many elements to it.
Nurses, who represent 90% of the healthcare workforce, are overrepresented in statistics of compassion fatigue, burnout, and vicarious traumatization, which means being traumatized by empathizing with another person's traumatic experience.
Across different health conditions, I would say that the health of a caregiver is often overlooked. It's only recently become a focus of research attention in the cancer context.
There was a headline that was as searing as it was succinct, published by the Journal of Nursing last year. When nurses are overburdened, patients die. And the evidence does show increased errors in medical administration, and so it is a very urgent issue, and I think we need creative strategies to get at that.
A lot of people use art as a form of therapy. Actually, that is how the art hype started. Our approach here in McGill is towards wellness and towards community. I mean, if you think also language in Montreal, we're surrounded by international students. I mean, we have so many languages, and I consider art just like another language that in many ways is much more universal and inclusive.
So for more than 25 years, I've been training master's students in art therapy as part of our teams. But it's also basic to our clinical work that we use art, theater, body work, art, music, and painting. And when we worked in Jamaica, a great deal of our work in high-risk children is centered on the arts as the vehicle of change and promotion of resilience.
The concept of well-being is really related to the freedom to be oneself, to be authentic in every environment that you happen to be in, to be able to make choices, to be actively involved in your life. And be doing the kinds of things that are important to you. I think this is particularly important in the area of disability, where people rarely have access to that kind of freedom and the ability to be valued for what they bring to the table.
What well-being means to me? Well, Ultimately, it means that I feel good about myself, that I like myself, and I'm certainly not perfect. I have shortcomings, and I could acknowledge that, but in the end, well-being would mean for me that I accept myself the way I am. And sometimes I will be better at that, and other times it will be harder, but well-being would require that in the end, at the basics, I accept myself.